Sellers on Temu, the overseas version of Pinduoduo, are urgently leaving the platform. That's right, the essence of this exodus is that they aren't making money. Interestingly, it's not just that they aren't earning, one wrong move could even cost them money. Pinduoduo's biggest advantage used to be its traffic, but now it seems that only the top 20% of sellers are really making money, while the remaining 80% are just getting by. This is a reminder to everyone. If we suffer any harm, whether financial or mental, we should use legal means to protect our rights. For sellers who have been fined millions, even if just one or two win their cases, it might get the platform's attention. On July 29th, hundreds of small and medium-sized sellers, unhappy with the fines, stormed the Temu office in Guangzhou to negotiate their demands. They rushed into the office, with some even sitting down in the corridors. The protester kept repeating that they were victims, demanding that Temu's legal representative or responsible person come out to address their issues. Employees were quickly notified to leave work early, shut down their computers, and leave the office. Multiple merchants reported numerous troubles and disputes in their cooperation with Temu, including continuous violations, fines, and unreasonable handling methods, leading to widespread protests. According to data provided by some merchants, as of July 29th, the total amount of post-sale penalties and reserved funds amounted to about 138 million RMB, involving 407 merchants. This means that each merchant was an average of 330,000 RMB, or close to 46,000 US dollars. Most of these were small and medium-sized merchants who found it hard to bear such large fines. This situation has caused operational crises for many companies and factories, with some unable to pay their workers properly. Merchants protested the fines at Temu's headquarters, but Temu views these strict rules as necessary to maintain its rapid growth. The crisis didn't suddenly erupt, it had been brewing for some time. Before this large-scale action, on July 22nd, some merchants had already gone to Temu's headquarters to defend their rights. However, this earlier protest was more restrained, involving only dozens of seller representatives negotiating with Temu officials. Since the beginning of 2024, Temu has been issuing large fines to merchants. According to Temu's after-sales service rules, fines can be as high as 5 times the order amount, but the specific standards for these fines are unclear, causing dissatisfaction among merchants. For example, a merchant from Zhejiang showed that from January to March this year, fines were only 2 to 3% of their sales. However, from April, fines surged to 12%, and in May and June, they further increased to 25 and 21%. As the fines increased, the frequency of penalties went from weekly to daily updates, resulting in growing losses for merchants. Offline, the movement to protect their rights started as early as May, with hundreds of Temu sellers forming online chat groups to support each other and discuss solutions. On August 4th, a member of the Temu sellers group posted a video on social media talking about the recent protests. He said,
"The overseas version of Temu has been quite a disappointment. They fined over 100 sellers, with a total amount exceeding 100 million yuan. We saw this coming. One of the sellers in our community was fined 1 million yuan. Today, I'm summarizing the issues faced by Temu sellers. First, there's the pricing issue. For example, if an item costs 30 yuan to produce, Temu's pricing might only be 17 or 18 yuan, which is unreasonable and frustrating for sellers. The return process is also terrible, with items being returned one by one, making sellers suspect that Temu might be colluding with shipping companies to profit. Once stock is prepared, the platform then pressures for price reductions, putting sellers in a difficult position. Regarding prices, they introduce Amazon's bestsellers into the seller community, causing a price war among sellers. This not only results in significant losses for the sellers themselves, but also negatively impacts the entire industry. The fines are extremely strict. The money sellers work hard to earn can be quickly taken back through fines. Some sellers even end up owing the platform money. Returns or complaints not only result in fines, but high fines. The return issue is also very unclear. The system shows a return is successful, but the returned goods are nowhere to be found. Each of these problems eats away at the seller's profits and is detrimental to brand expansion overseas. If Temu doesn't address and resolve these issues promptly and adjust its operating strategies and management methods, more sellers will lose confidence and leave the platform, ultimately affecting Temu's own growth.
Factory owner Xiang also participated in the July 29th protest. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal on August 2nd, he mentioned that during the July 22nd protest, Guangzhou police collected the names and opinions of the merchants and promised a response within a week. However, nothing happened, and hundreds of suppliers went to Temu's affiliated office, with some even flying in from other parts of China. According to Xiang, since he started supplying to Temu at the end of the year, he has lost $41,000. He had to lay off all his workers and still owes tens of thousands of dollars. He stopped selling on Temu in April this year, but has not yet recovered the portion of the payment withheld by the platform as penalties. He still pays fines every day. At the end of the July 29th protest, the sellers did not get a clear solution. Xiang said, "We need to keep fighting for our rights. How can we survive if we don't get our money back?" Other merchants told the Wall Street Journal that about 400 sellers joined the protest. Earlier this year, Xiang and other merchants frequently faced penalties amounting to 5 times the product price. These fines were often due to quality issues or not meeting customer expectations for color or size. However, Temu did not provide any proof or a way for sellers to appeal. A Temu seller from Dongguan said, "We can't see the return information, nor can we contact the buyers. If there's evidence, I'm willing to accept the penalty, but how can there be no documentation at all?" This seller mentioned that when she started supplying to Temu at the beginning of 2023, the contract didn't mention penalties. Later, the contract was frequently updated, and penalties followed. She said, "We were forced to sign these contracts. If we didn't, we couldn't operate in the system." Chen Zhong from Zhejiang, one of the first shoe sellers on Temu in 2022, said he gets fined every month. So far, he has been fined more than 300,000 yuan by the platform. Chen said they deduct the fines directly without specific explanations. The fine notices mention after-sales issues like incorrect sizes, ill-fitting shoes, and poor packaging. If there are quality issues, I'm willing to take responsibility. For sneakers or leather shoes, I can understand size issues. But I sell slippers, and I still got fined 200,000 yuan. Despite the struggles with fines and tough business conditions, Temu is growing rapidly. Temu, Pinduoduo's cross-border e-commerce platform, officially launched overseas in September 2022. Within a few months, it expanded to 75 countries and regions. In less than 2 years, Temu has become the second-largest shopping platform globally. Data from April this year shows that Temu's user base in the United States has surpassed 100 million, with 467 million unique visitors, second only to Amazon. Looking at the data, total revenue for 2023 reached 94.1 billion yuan, approximately $13.1 billion, marking a year-on-year increase of 241%. HSBC predicts that in 2024, Temu's gross merchandise volume, GMV, will double, reaching around $48 billion. This discrepancy in performance between the platform and its sellers has led to another controversy. How much of this high growth is actually derived from fines? However, Pinduoduo has stated that fines imposed on sellers are used to compensate consumers on their losses, and the platform itself does not profit from them. On August 5th, the latest Fortune Global 500 list was released. For the first time, Pinduoduo made the list, ranking 442nd. Amazon ranked second, just behind Walmart. It is noteworthy that as Temu's business continues to expand, its shortcomings in management and service are becoming more apparent. Ultimately, the escalating conflicts between sellers and Temu, along with the lack of transparency in the fining system, have become the final straw for sellers who can no longer tolerate these penalties. For sellers, they often know the platform rules, but do not know which specific rule they violated to incur a fine. This leads them to feel exploited. The high fines imposed by Temu directly result in significant financial losses for merchants, causing many to consider leaving the platform. On August 5th, Temu sellers reported that many merchants are either leaving or preparing to abandon Temu. Some are clearing out inventory and wrapping up their operations. Some sellers compare Amazon with Temu, stating that Amazon offers a better business environment. Zhang Kai, an e-commerce seller from Jiangsu, said that Temu's bidding system forces sellers to lower their prices. If they don't maintain the lowest prices, their product links might be quickly replaced by others. On Amazon, however, product links belong to the sellers. As long as they achieve a certain ranking, they can continuously get substantial organic traffic without worrying about being suddenly replaced by lower-priced products. Temu's price reduction system lowers sellers' profits and increases the risk for sellers of genuine products. Zhang Kai gave an example. I launched a unique product priced at 10 yuan. After the initial sales wave, Temu finds similar products across the web, leading to counterfeit products being promoted. These counterfeits have no development costs and sell for 3 to 5 yuan. Temu doesn't care if the product is genuine or fake, forcing you to lower your price. This makes it impossible for genuine manufacturers to survive, and more substandard products appear. Zhang also stated that he sells authorized genuine products on multiple online platforms like Tmall and JD.com. None of them are as bad as Temu. For shoes with a cost of 20 yuan, after accounting for logistics, labor, storage, and office expenses, he ends up making only 3 to 4 yuan if he doesn't lose money. Additionally, Temu holds a large amount of money as reserve funds, making it difficult for sellers to withdraw. This makes it unsustainable for sellers to continue on the platform. Zhang has been selling on Temu for 3 years and is extremely dissatisfied with its opaque fines. He found that no matter what he sells on Temu, he faces fines. Due to domestic overcapacity, everyone wants to sell their products, so Temu is never short of merchants. In contrast, Amazon's business environment is praised by sellers. Zhang also sells on Amazon. He says, if you make a mistake there, you can accept the penalty. When Amazon deducts money, at least you know what you did wrong. You can appeal, and you can correct it to avoid repeating the mistake. But with Temu fines, sellers don't even know what the problem is or what they did wrong, so how can they correct it? Zhang has had over 10 years of experience in e-commerce. He initially thought supplying to Temu would be easy, but various fines and deductions left him with almost no profit. Zhang says, facing such a terrible and outrageous platform like Temu, it's impossible to continue. It has lost its integrity. In the future, I will spend more time improving my Amazon store. A good platform should foster a win-win growth environment for all parties. Strict fine rules and an opaque triggering mechanism damage sellers' legitimate operating rights while failing to effectively protect consumer experiences. Under Temu's strong control, sellers face extreme challenges. Unlike Pinduoduo's commercial buying, Amazon gives pricing power to the sellers. Amazon is indeed working hard to attract Chinese sellers. According to research by Marketplace Pulse, Chinese sellers make up almost 50% of the top sellers on Amazon in the US and may contribute nearly 50% of the GMV. At the end of last year, Cindy Tai, executive president of Amazon Global Selling Asia Pacific, emphasized to the media that Amazon hopes sellers will have innovative products rather than compete on price. They hope sellers will build global brands. Amazon described these Chinese sellers as significant in its annual financial report. As Pinduoduo's ambitions grow, Amazon needs to make more significant adjustments to respond to the competition. On June 26, during a closed-door meeting hosted by Amazon, they announced the low-price store plan, focusing on selling unbranded goods mainly in the fashion, home, and lifestyle categories, with prices under $20. It allows Chinese sellers to ship directly to U.S. consumers. The low-price store follows a full-service model but retains the seller's rights to sell prices, participate in promotions, and select products, while Amazon retains advertising rights. Sellers must ship goods to Amazon's China warehouse, and orders are fulfilled from there, with delivery expected within 9 to 11 days. The newly established low-price store has started reaching out to merchants and completing contracts, with plans to start receiving goods this fall. This initiative is favorable for attracting and retaining more Chinese sellers. Temu, on the other hand, does not have as well-developed a warehousing and logistics system in the U.S. as Amazon does. Early on, Temu relied more on air shipping small items directly to the U.S., then handing them over to warehousing and logistics companies. This method results in much longer delivery times compared to Amazon. 75% of American consumers are willing to pay extra for faster delivery. To solve logistics issues, Amazon has spent over a decade building 110 distribution centers across the U.S., some of which are larger than the Forbidden City in Beijing and employ 1,500 full-time workers. Guangzhou Temu seller Wang Ming says he envies Amazon. Amazon focuses on product quality and service, supports products and operations, and has more comprehensive systems for brand protection. For Chinese exporters and factories, the pandemic has significantly impacted overseas logistics and order demand, leading to high inventory pressure. However, platforms like Amazon have high entry barriers, requiring long-term operations and investments to establish a foothold. In November 2023, Amazon officially announced it would no longer accept registrations from individual industrial and commercial households, affecting many small and micro-individual businesses that wanted to register. Wang Ming says that Temu is different. As long as you have an operating license, no matter the size of your company, even if it's just 2 people, you can register and open a store. This is why the overall quality of goods on Temu can't compare to Amazon, and the service experience is also different. For Temu, the events of July 29th were, in some ways, an inevitable part of its business expansion process. From the subsequent developments, it seems that Temu has yet to provide a satisfactory response to the sellers, and the situation remains unresolved. In the long run, as Temu's business volume continues to grow, along with the regulatory challenges inherent to cross-border e-commerce, the challenges Temu faces will inevitably become more severe. Mr. Zhang, who participated in the protests, said that his brother, who sells clothing on Temu, was fined over 100,000 yuan. He said that all publicly listed e-commerce companies are driven by the inflated market value of Pinduoduo, plunging into a price vortex and using fines to bleed sellers dry. He believes that this price war strategy is like draining the pond to catch fish, and ultimately everyone pays the price. For Chinese foreign trade to transform and improve, it is necessary to eliminate e-commerce companies like Temu that attract traffic with low prices, sell inferior products, and tarnish the reputation of Chinese goods. Temu ultimately locks the industry at the low end, destroying Chinese e-commerce from within.